All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we're going to now get into talking about Saquon Barkley and his return to MetLife Stadium as the Eagles defeat the Giants 28-3, which was, if you remember, the score of the Super Bowl with the Falcons and the Patriots. And Patriots came back. The Giants were not coming back from 28-3. Yeah, it was pretty much. I mean, I'm not surprised with how it went. I thought the Giants, could have been. We're going to be competitive in this game, and there were just punts in the first quarter. And the defense was getting to Jalen Hurts. What did the defense finish with? They finished with 5 sacks on the day. So the defense showed up. However, the Giants do not have a competent offense. They just don't. Daniel Jones on the day, he finished 14 of 21 for 99 yards and actually got taken out of the game, and they put in Drew Lock, who went 3 for 8 for 6 yards. Giants only ran the ball for 76 yards. Malik Neighbors made his return. He had 4 receptions for 41 yards. The Giants just have no offense. Dexter Lawrence actually leads the league in sacks right now, I believe. He has 9, and he's a defensive tackle. 9 sacks. Stud. Brian Burns a sack in this game. He's a stud. I mean, the defense, and again, that is something that I said, if you're a Giant fan, you at least can be excited about the defense. The problem is you have an offense that is a complete 180 of what the defense is. But let's get into Saquon Barkley. So Saquon Barkley basically did what he was going to do, and that's just run all over the Giants. Nick Sirianni, there was a clip. So Nick Sirianni was talking to him saying, hey, you could, your career high, you're approaching that. Do you want to, you want to get that? And he said, no, let the young guys continue to play or go and play. So, I mean, that was definitely a selfless thing, not selfish, selfless, okay, by Saquon. But, Saquon torched the Giants. 17 carries, 176 yards, and a touchdown. The Eagles ran all over the Giants in this game. Almost 300 yards rushing for the Eagles. They had 269 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. Now, 2 of them were courtesy of the tush push, but still, the Eagles ran all over them. And then, of course, and this happened a couple years ago on 4th down. The Eagles went for it on 4th down at one point, and A.J.Brown scored a touchdown. It was on 4th and 2. I think it was this one. Yeah, it was 4th and 3, and Hurts connected with A.J. Brown for a 41-yard touchdown. That was in the second quarter. The first touchdown, you had a 55-yard run by Saquon Barkley, and then a 3-yard run by Saquon Barkley for a touchdown. So yeah, the Eagles were up 14-0. The Giants actually, scored some points before the end of the first half, believe it or not. Greg Joseph actually, believe it or not, made a field goal. So that made it 14-3, a 38-yard field goal. And, so 14-3 at the half. So by no means was this game over yet. But, again, the Giants just could not score. More punts to start the second half. And Hurts, his first rushing touchdown. So that made it 21-3. And then it was 28-3. Barkley had a 41-yard run. And then, on 4th and goal, they went for it, the Eagles. With the tush push, they got it. And then there was just more punts. The Eagles, by no means, are playing great. Saquon Barkley right now is their best player. It's good that they have A.J. Brown back. Devontae Smith, he only had 1 reception for -2 yards. But, yeah, Saquon Barkley right now, he's been the MVP of the team. He's got 658 rushing yards on the season and 5 touchdowns. He's been as advertised. Jalen Hurts only went 10 of 14 for 114 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. So, I mean, I expect more out of him. He hasn't been great this year. He just has not been great. I mean, the Eagles are 4-2, but I don't know. I expect more out of Jalen Hurts. And next week they take on the Bengals in Cincy. It's going to be a tough game. Giants, they take on the Steelers. And we talked about this in the production meeting. People should be fired because of this move, letting Saquon Barkley walk. And, look at what he did. Look, I would have liked for them to have kept Saquon, but had they kept Saquon, I mean, the Giants are still going to be in the same position that they're in right now. And the Giants improved the offensive line this offseason. What's unfortunate now is, Andrew Thomas is out for the year, their left tackle. Out for the year. And you could tell that the Giants missed him because they could not protect Daniel Jones. But Daniel Jones also is not a very good quarterback. Eagles defense, they finished with 8 sacks on the day. So again, I thought maybe the Giants, and like I said, you know what? At certain points they were competitive, but it got out of hand. It got out of hand because the Giants cannot generate any points. And if you think that Saquon Barkley would make a huge difference on this team this year, you're mistaken because the Giants don't have a quarterback. They don't. Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. Now, maybe if he went to a better system, if Daniel Jones went to, let's say, the 49ers, he would look a lot better there than he does with the Giants. But he just takes too long to process things. And just watching the game, I mean, I had so where I was at, we had DirecTV, and, I had all the games on. So, every game is in its own little box. So I was paying more attention to some of the better games, like the Lions and the Vikings, like the Packers and the Texans. And then, I would, keep looking over at the Giants. But it's just a lot of checkdowns. They don't push the ball down the field. You're not going to win football games with an offense like that. And Brian Dable was brought in because he was an offensive guy. Now, I do think if you have a better quarterback in place, things look different. But, I mean, where is the season going for the Giants? I mean, again, they win this huge game on the road in Seattle, and you think, oh, maybe, let's see if they could put something together. They're going up against a bad defense in the Bengals. They only put up 7 points. Daniel Jones has not thrown a touchdown pass. You ready for this? And you probably already know. He has not thrown a touchdown pass at home, at MetLife Stadium, since 2022. That's how long it's been. 2022. Aaron Rodgers was still in Green Bay. Tom Brady was still playing football. What are we doing? And we'll see if he ends up starting next week. But I feel like at some point you're going to have to pull the plug. And maybe you start Drew Lock. And maybe you see Tommy Cutlets again. I don't think you could keep trotting Daniel Jones out there. But either way, like if the Giants win some meaningless games here, because this season's pretty much over, you're only hurting your draft positioning. And the Giants have holes on this team. Quarterback is the major thing. And paying Daniel Jones really set this team back. Because they thought, all right, well, he won a playoff game. Let's pay him. Because that's a more important position than a running back. And that really has set them back. Really, the pick in general, Dave Gettleman picking Daniel Jones, that set this franchise back. It did. The Giants just continued to make bad decisions. And I still think, though, that with this defense, and if they could figure out the quarterback situation, they could be a more competitive team. But right now, it's not going to happen. And especially now when you lose your left tackle, who is probably your best player on offense, honestly, outside of Malik Neighbors. That just changed the whole offensive line. The offensive line actually has been good this year. It has. But it doesn't help when you have a quarterback that just can't seem to get out of his own way. And, again, it's not like the Eagles are this juggernaut. They really have not been a juggernaut this year. They barely beat the Browns. They're not as good as maybe I thought they could be. I mean, Saquon Barkley's been great. Don't get me wrong. But, Jalen Hurts is not playing well. It's just, I don't know. The Eagles are not, they're 4-2. Give them credit. But it's just, again, I don't view them as a top team right now. I don't. Right now, the Commanders of all teams is in first place in the division. And I thought they were finishing in last. So, I was wrong about that. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I don't... The Giants didn't want to overpay for a running back. The Giants had other needs that they needed to address. But it is a bad look. It is a bad look. And it doesn't surprise me that Saquon was able to do this. Not one bit. Not one bit. Not one bit. He wanted this. And, I mean, to the Giant fans that are burning his jersey in the parking lot, I mean, come on, guys. What, really? I'm happy that he's on a better team. It's just unfortunate that it's with the Eagles, a rival. But the Eagles are a better team than the Giants. I know I just said that they haven't really impressed me, but he's running behind a much better offensive line, and this team can make the playoffs. The Giants, with Saquon, they're not making the playoffs. They're not going anywhere. And they'd be wasting another year of Saquon's prime, because he's still in his prime. I mean, now with the Eagles, I mean, it's, his prime is going to be extended. I mean, look at Derrick Henry last night. Derrick Henry's 30 years old. And that's old for a running back. Saquon's not 30 yet. Saquon's still got some very good years left if he continues to run behind this offensive line. The Giants were not going to offer him that. The Giants, if they would have kept Saquon, they would not have been able to sign some of the guys that they got to improve the offensive line. So he would have been running behind the same offensive line that he's been running behind his whole Giants career, which is not a very good one. So, I'm still okay with them letting go of Saquon. I am. It's just, you go back a couple years ago, maybe they should have prioritized signing Saquon and, again, telling Daniel Jones, continue to prove it. Because, yes, he did win that playoff game, but it was against a very bad defense in the Vikings. And what did he throw? Only 21, what did he throw? 21 touchdown passes? How many touchdown passes did Daniel Jones throw? Actually, I don't even think it was that. I gotta look up Daniel Jones' stats from a couple years ago. I mean, he did have the rushing touchdowns. I get it. But, yeah, I said 21. Yeah, forget that. 15 touchdown passes to 5 interceptions. 15 touchdown passes. His rookie year is probably his best year. 24 touchdowns he threw. He's not gotten close to that number. And look, I mean, he's gone through a lot in his career. Injuries and, different coaching staffs. It's just, it was a mess. It really was. But he's also just, he's not that good. He's not good. And I know he can make things happen with his legs, but he's not Lamar Jackson. I mean, you see Lamar Jackson last night. Daniel Jones is not even close to that. Not even close. And look at Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has gotten better as a passer. That throw to Bateman last night for the touchdown. Daniel Jones is not doing that. Even though he kind of did a couple weeks ago with Darius Slayton. But still, I mean, Lamar Jackson is in a different stratosphere than Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones can use his legs. That makes him a weapon. I get it. But it's not like Lamar Jackson. It's just not. But where do you go from here if you're the Giants? I have no idea. And you know what? They're going to find a way to win some meaningless games at the end of the year. That's going to hurt their draft positioning. And, who knows what's going to happen. But they need a new quarterback. They need a new quarterback. And I think another thing is maybe you go out and you draft a running back as well, because supposedly this draft class is loaded with running backs. I mean, it'd be nice to see them get Ashton Genty if they were able to. I don't think they will, but who knows. Continue to build up the back end on the defense. Get another wide receiver. because I don't know if Darius Slayton is going to be here, how much longer he's going to be here with them. But yeah, they got a lot of issues. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think though about this game or your takeaways from it. I mean, again, not surprised really by what happened here. So we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we will talk about the Commanders and their 40-7 victory over the Panthers, despite Jaden Daniels getting hurt in this game. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.